of 4. What Sunday is next week?
Pentecost.
What Sunday is next week?
Pentecost.
What Sunday is next week?
Pentecost.
Do we love Pentecost?
Yes.
Yes. Is there any other holiday that's better than Pentecost?
No.
No. Should it be a national holiday of the Christian United States? Yeah. We should definitely have like a week off because next week is Pentecost. Hallelujah. So don't miss it. 10 o'clock. The Spirit's going to be moving. It's going to be tangible. We may blow the roof right off this joint. Next week is Pentecost.
Wear your red.
You can wear red. You can wear red. If you feel so moved, you can wear red. I heard there may be hats, too. Just to let you know. I mean, there's a new benchmark that seems to be being set this year on Pentecost, which would be next Sunday. Oh gosh, it's going to be a week. It's going to be a week. And right now we find ourselves in the middle of a series called Buying In. What is it that we're buying into by coming around and hanging around and committing to this community of faith? In the first week we looked at being always open and open always to the divine. How is it that that sacred mystery interacts with us, and what do we believe about the Holy One? And we're doing a book study starting the 18th. That would be the Sunday after Pentecost. See, we orient our whole calendar according to Pentecost. It's a beautiful thing. The Sunday after Pentecost, we're going to begin a book study called The God We Never Knew, which is a book by Marcus Borg. Excellent time for discussion after worship if you'd like to join us and dig around more. Do you believe? Do you not believe? It's okay. Let's check it out. What do you believe exactly? It's all okay. Let's figure it out together. Then the week after that, we talked about, which was last week. Sounds like a long time ago. It's just last week. We considered, what does it mean to be always open and open always to the marginalized and the oppressed? And what is our call as community to those who are the marginalized and the oppressed? And today we're going to do some work on what does it mean to be always open and open always to your call. To our calls as individuals, to our call as the community of First Congregational United Church of Christ, and to our call as the wider people of faith. So I hope you enjoy the ride. He was always a troublesome kid. He grew up in the church. His parents were in the choir, and his mother told many stories about how she would watch him from the choir loft goofing around during worship and desert depended on his behavior. How one look from the choir loft at him could correct a multitude of sins. He grew up lighting the candles in the church as a child. He went through all the Sunday school classes. He participated in the youth group. He even drove the church van. He was quite the church geek, even from a little kid. When he finished high school and he left his parents' house, he still sought out church. That's how much of a geek he was about church. He was churchy. He even strayed from the progressive left and went sort of over to the fundamentalist right a little bit, because those people had something that the progressives just didn't have: soundboards, technology. And instead of the minister yelling at him, "Don't touch that! You don't know what you're doing, you can screw it up," a unidirectional microphone, this minister encouraged him. "Come on, check it out. Let me show you how this works. Let me teach you what this is like." And those ideas that had been churning inside of him about how to combine this technology, this field of digital media with what's happening in worship and what's happening in the business of the church, how to get those two connected in more tangible ways, started to seem a bit more real. And then he heard about this little community out in a place that was absolutely unknown, Arizona. When you're from the land of pilgrims, Arizona is like nowhere. Where? That's Mexico. What are you talking about? Tucson. And sure enough, that thing, that desire, it just wouldn't go away. That dream of how to make technology and God sing together. And that person we call Chuck Ballard was jumped out of his ordinary life comfortably there on the East Coast and dragged out here to participate in his way from his call in First Congregational United Church of Christ. We love the call of Chuck Ballard. When I first came to town, I decided that the way I was going to get to know people was partying. It was a brilliant strategy. And lucky, since now I'm single and a mother too, it doesn't work so well. So I went everywhere I could to meet these people that I thought might be progressive, that might be aching for community. And everywhere I went, there was this guy. But he wouldn't come near me. It was like I had that electrical fence for pets around me. And it was about 5 feet deep. And as soon as he would get near that, bam! He'd be backing off. And everywhere I went, the people I went with, when we left, they would talk about that guy. And how funny he was, and how he was really into church, and how he totally would like me. But we never talked. I couldn't get us to be close enough. And then finally one day it happened. Whatever happened. And he came to worship at the Odd Fellows Lodge, which is where we used to meet, in the smoky little room under the bingo board. And there he was, so excited to see this crazy progressive community that we had, with our opera singer, who was our song leader back then, under the bingo board in the little teeny room, like half this size, the opera singer, and the classical pianist that backed him up. It's a journey. And it was a little dissonant, this progressive theology with this classical backup. How does that work together? Are you kidding? He said to me. Oh no, we may not quite have it, but we're doing this together. And sure enough, he started dabbling with bulletins, with reading, with working with the youth, with putting in time. Pretty soon it was obvious to everyone that he had a call. He had a call not to be anywhere, but serving in the ministry. He came to be one of ours that we are so looking forward to hearing about. How is seminary for you? It's our own Davin Franklin Hicks. There were plenty of communities before that said, you're not welcome as you are. You're not lovable enough as you are. In fact, plenty of communities that said, get out now, because you're not good enough to even be in this community with us. How is it there could be a place, thus the electric fencing, how is it there could be a place that is honestly doing what's happening here? That we can own and recognize and name that how you are in God's sight, it is enough. Hallelujah for the call that has jumped Davin Franklin Hicks out of his ordinary life and into the midst of this community with a purpose for something more than here.